guys, a quick little bonus video to share a little tip about getting the most out of your little watercolor tubes. Basically, when it dries, you can obviously use it. That's how it's meant to be used. Now, these are my Daniel Smith paints, and I've moved them again. They've now been transferred to this palette because I did want to add the primatek colors. So these are all primatek colors. Before I had them in separate palettes, but I wanted to add them here so I could use the primatek colors as well. By putting them in a second palette, because I retained the other palette I had them in, and it's in a separate location, but I added them to this palette too. What that meant is all of these were used up, and I used the watercolor tube ringer sort of thing to get the most out of them. But if you open it up, there's more there. Even if you use the ringer and go up like into the very tip of it, there's still more left in there. Once it's completely dry, don't try to do this before it dries completely. Then you can kind of peel the metal off after you cut it. This paint over here, the primatek, had dried in the tube before I even really got to use it. So I had to cut the tube apart from the get-go and kind of split it up into two pans. So let me see if I can get this out. Let's see if I can use some tools to help the process. And let me take my glasses off so I can see better, because I can't see close up with my glasses on anymore. It's a bit of a fussy process, but you're getting a lot of paint, so it's worth it considering how much these little 5mm tubes cost. And then you just sort of pop it out, and look at that. It's a huge chunk. That's the amethyst. I don't want to waste it because that's a really lovely color. Let me try to push it out. There we go. So, and then once it gets wet at some point, then it will, you know. So look at that. This is what I got. And then this whole thing was inside the... So that's a lot of paint, guys. So yeah, before you throw out the tubes, just cut them open and check them out. And it's not hard to cut them open. You can just use regular scissors because these tubes are really flimsy. It's still a little wet. You know, the amethyst had probably dried more because I tried opening it up and it was still wet. So I left it open and left it to dry. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them all open and then try to get what I can out of them. Give them a few days to dry completely open. So I'm not going to bore you by coming back and showing you the end result, but basically you get the idea. It's going to be pretty much what I got out of the amethyst. So I would definitely recommend cutting it open and at least checking it out. Here's a look at my final, or for the time being, that's why I have it in this thing instead of laminated, so that I can slip it out if I add more colors, because I do now have a few spaces, and I can always take the opera out because that's from a different brand. That's my Daniel Smith palette. At this point in time, I've redone it like 5 times now. Oh, and this is a little, I painted this myself in Cancun in 2015, I guess. The reason it's broken is because my cat dumped it on the floor. It had some sentimental value since I painted it myself. You know, it was like a souvenir, so I just glued it back together. That's what happens when you let your cat into your creative space. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.